Today's collectible spot, we are having a look at the Hot Toys MMS 297 Luke Skywalker 1/6 scale collectible figure. A big thank you to Sideshow Collectibles for sending this my way. Luke Skywalker is currently on pre-order with a release date of the end of December, early January. So at the time that you're seeing this video, he might still be a pre-order. And if you guys are interested in picking this guy up for yourself, you can head over to Sideshow Collectibles and get him now, or at least pre-order him now. This is also a Sideshow edition version of Luke Skywalker, so he's going to come with a couple of extra things that the normal Hot Toys release isn't going to necessarily have. When it comes to the box, the Luke Skywalker is packaged in pretty much the same variety of figure packaging that we've seen with other Star Wars 6 scale releases. An all black box with some light gray trimming down the side, which also carries over to the back. And speaking of the back of the box also features MMS 297 Luke Skywalker 1/6 scale collectible figure. Also the cast and crew responsible for releasing this figure. I'm very, very excited to get Luke Skywalker finally in 6 scale treatment, at least of the New Hope, to which this figure is taken from. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, however, we're going to get a better look at the Hot Toys Luke Skywalker, the Sideshow edition. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Just before actually we get the figure out of packaging, I wanted to actually show you the insert when you take the top flap off. And inside, you would almost think that those are screen grabs taken from the movie itself, but no, that is actually the Hot Toys Luke Skywalker, depicting him with the lightsaber, and also a very cool image at the top there with him and Obi-Wan and Han Solo. There's Chewie there too. He's a little covered by the front Luke here, standing in the the foreground. But it's hard to believe, again, that this is all not from the movie, but this is actually the figures themselves. Before we have a look at Luke Skywalker, let's first have a look at the display stand that comes with the figure. For display stand options, you get yourself a Millennium Falcon flooring, complete with Luke Skywalker on the front placard and Star Wars. It's pretty nice. It's a nice detailed flooring, a little bit on the smaller side, but to be honest, the one good thing about the flooring is that you can take the front placard off and you can connect it to another Hot Toys like figure, or a figure that would have come with a similar display stand. So I don't have Han Solo yet, but I'm presuming either a Han Solo or a Chewbacca would likely have the same style of flooring, that you just connect the two together to get yourself a much larger stand. Then you can take the, again, if you're not displaying it with the multiple displays put together, you just snap that back into place. I find the placard doesn't stay on always. Sometimes it might fall off when moving it. As you can see right there, you have to make sure it really clicks. It doesn't really even click into place, but you just want to apply enough pressure that it's not going to go anywhere on you. The other thing that comes with the display stand, of course, is an adjustable neck. And this is one thing that I will want to try to show you guys as best I can, because when you're putting the neck in, it will actually go in any one of these slots. You don't necessarily have to have it in the dead center area of the display stand. You could put it anywhere. The thing is, though, when you are putting it in, you want to be very careful the way you are putting it in. For example, if you look at the back of the neck, see how there's that little groove there? You actually want to put that in first. So for example, there's one of the slots there, and the grate actually only goes, there's a clearance that runs all the way underneath the grate. So what you want to do is take the neck and put it in on an angle. Put it in on an angle backwards, because you need to get that little clip, that little notch here underneath whatever grate you want to put it under. And then once that's underneath, then this just slides forward. Immediately when I was first trying to put in, I was trying to put in from the front, but actually that's not the right way. Once it's in place, you can see it clicks in place, and it's a nice secure fit. When removing it, you want to basically do the exact same thing. Same process. You want to bring it forward so that the little curved piece tilts up first, and then from there you can pull the neck completely off. It's not something, if you put it in straight, it will fit into place. You need to put it in on that angle first and then snap it into place like that. And as you can see, while doing that, that placard falls off. I wish it was a better fit. I actually wish that was more magnetic rather than a clip. At least with magnets, it would stick on. I wouldn't have to worry about it actually coming off accidentally. I like the display stand. The floorboard is a nice touch. And do like the fact that you can move the neck around depending on where you want to place Luke. Speaking of placement, however, one of the other things that you get with your display stand is a clear rod. It's got little clip points on the underside that, again, you want to line up to the grates, depending on where you want to put it. You know, it's just a matter of preference, really. And you can have it right there. Let's put it right there for a second. What exactly will that be for? It also comes with the training orb that he's practicing with in the Millennium Falcon, along with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And just before I peg it into place, just want to show you what the orb looks like. As I will show you as we get progressively through this review, because of the other things that Luke comes with, it's perfect that they would have also opted to give you the little training sphere, little training probe here. And there's a little hole on the underside here. You want to just take that and attach it to the top of the clear pole. And obviously you probably will see where this is going. You'll then be able to have Luke posed training with the lightsaber. And we'll touch base on that in a second, but let's first have a look at the figure. Hot Toys has delivered a very strong representation of Luke Skywalker, and really for that matter, when we ever look at these figures, it's really a strong representation of the actors as well, because without any doubt at all, that looks like Mark Hamill. Each of the Luke Skywalker portraits are all hand-painted, and really there's a lot of detail that they've put into the figure. You know, funny, with the light shining on it, it doesn't look as brown in person, but in hand, the hair almost appeared to be a little too brown initially. When I first looked at the figure, I thought that the hair looked a little too brown. But to be honest, now that I've got the light on it, I think it looks more accurate than what I initially thought. And speaking of accurate, though, the curls and the way that they've sculpted the hair back, I think is a really nice touch. And even like some of the little small like markings on his face are also painted there as well. It's an exceptional looking sculpt of Luke Skywalker. For Luke's outfit, well, Yoda had it pretty good. You're no Jedi yet. Luke here is depicting while he is wearing his Tatooine outfit. So he's got his tunic, kind of almost a creamy, it's not quite white, almost more of a creamy white tunic. He's also got himself his belt, a couple of different pocket areas here. None of the pockets can be opened. It's just a sculpted piece. And he's got a little hook on the side there as well, a hook on the front. As for his pants, kind of more of a khaki color, slightly darker in color than the tunic. And then he's got his boots. And there's the undersides of his soles there. I suppose by comparisons, when we start looking at, say, let's say New Hope Luke versus to what we will eventually get maybe with an Empire Strikes Back Luke or a Return of the Jedi Luke, I would say maybe the Return of the Jedi or even an Empire Strikes Back Luke might be a little bit more interesting attire-wise, but really this defines Luke. This is how we first see Luke Skywalker, and I think it's perfect as as it goes. A little plain, perhaps, when it comes to his outfit, but I mean, again, that's how he looks like in the movie. If this is perhaps not the way you want to have Luke displayed, well, he has a couple of other options as well. First things first, let's get him in his desert mode or desert attire. What we want to do is we want to remove the head first. Just pull it off of its ball joint. I'm sorry, Luke, just put your head to the side for a second, because he also does come with a poncho. And you want to take the poncho, once the head is removed, and fit the poncho over top of the now barren neck socket. The poncho, by the way, also has wire-framed outer frame here. So, I mean, you can adjust it depending on how you want to have it displayed on Luke. Then you could go ahead and add the head back into the neck socket and adjust accordingly. And that's what Luke looks like with the poncho on. It's not a bad look. I likely would still display Luke with his just regular Tatooine outfit as opposed to wearing this. But then you can go a little further with that and you can add a hat And you can also add a pair of goggles for Luke. But in order to do that, what you need to do also as well is take the hairpiece off. Yes, Luke Skywalker is wearing a hairpiece, at least the Hot Toys version is. Get him to stand. Because Hot Toys also gives you two different hairs. One is the more, well, normal looking hair that you're going to be using for Luke in his everyday posing. But then you also get a more slender hair. As you can see the difference between the two. It's much more narrow here. You're going to be using this for the training helmet, I'll show you in a second, and also for the hat. The replacement hairpiece is, well, it's a little bit awkward looking. It's not something that you're going to ever want to display Luke with on its own. However, it will fit perfectly when you start incorporating the training helmet, or again, whether you want to incorporate his hat. With a couple of additions to the goggles as well as the hat, this is the desert look for Luke. A slight departure, yes, than maybe the Luke that we're used to seeing. It's nice that Hot Toys would have included these accessories. Honestly, it's not something I would probably display him looking though. By the way though, while we're looking at this particular Luke, one of the accessories probably more suited for Desert Luke is a very long rifle. The rifle, funny enough, is actually longer. Well, if you factor in the hat, it's about the same height, but it's a little bit taller than Luke Skywalker himself. It's extremely long, and I always again have to commend Hot Toys for giving us a ton of accessories. They didn't have to necessarily display or give us a poncho for Luke, a hat, or really things that a collector may not necessarily display him with, but kudos to them for including accessories like this. The rifle is a very nice piece. Nice accent piece for Luke. Again, I probably won't end up displaying him with it, but it's pretty neat though that they would have included it. I've gone ahead and I've left the sculpted toupee piece on Luke because I'll show you how the training helmet works, and I'll do that in a second. However, you know what? While we're looking at Luke right now, let's look at some of the accessories that are probably more specific to this time of Luke in the movie. He comes with a pair of binoculars, which there is a clip right at the back there that you can clip it onto his belt. I'll show you that. And then he has a couple of little added pieces that can go to the back of the binoculars. One is a closed visor, and one is an open visor. And it just sits. This one sits a little harder actually, to be honest, but it sits right in there. There we go. And can be displayed like that. But, like I said, the binoculars, there's a little clip right on the back. Actually, you know what, before we do that, I just want to show you a close-up look of the binoculars. Very good paint, very good sculpt. Again, you can take the little clip. It's a very narrow clip. You can see right there, it doesn't clear by very much. But you can take it, and it just sits into Luke's belt, and it can sit on the front. But as I mentioned, there's not a lot of clearance. It does stay on there, but you might struggle a bit to kind of get it onto his belt. The other things he does come with, to be honest, I'm not quite certain what this is. I think it's a droid training device. In the read-up online for Luke, it says, I think it says droid training device. The instructions actually don't indicate what this is. But there's a little loop on that side there, and you can fit that just, there's a little hook, not sure if you can see it, there's a hook right there, and that sits on the hook. And then there's probably, well, you're going to see there's one big hook there. What's that for? Well, maybe I'll show you that once we look at Luke with his training helmet. So yes, Luke does come with his training helmet, and kind of then flashback then to the display stand that we had a look at earlier. The helmet does not seem to have a movable visor. It seems to be completely closed shut. There is no, does not appear to be a way to actually move it, so it's actually just sculpted closed. But what you want to do with Luke now with the more fitted, slimmer hairstyle, you can take it and fit it right over top of Luke's hair. And just sits in place like that. Now let's go ahead and grab the display stand. Just moving Luke out of the way just for a second. Let's bring in the display stand that we had a look at earlier. I've gone ahead and I've taken the adjustable neck for the waist. I've just moved it over, or the area where his legs are going to sit on. I just moved it over to clear the fact that he's got his training pod there. There you have Luke, and I guess, well, yeah, I guess we are missing really just one thing, just one more thing. Of course, you're going to need yourself a lightsaber, and the folks over at Hot Toys also includes a lightsaber, but they don't give you just one, they give you two. This particular one has no light up features, it's just the hilt itself with the beam. The beam is removable, like so. You just want to pop that into place because you can switch this out for the other lightsaber. I'll show you in a second. Here's the hilt itself. Nicely painted in silver, black, a couple of accent points there in red where the buttons are at the top. And yes, there is that little ring where you can take it and clip it onto Luke's belt. Just like that. Of course, though, if he's going to be training, it's no good in having it on his belt, so we can take it off. And you can do one of two different things. You can change out his hands for any number of the other hands that come with Luke. He comes with a total of extra 6 hands. Hands ranging from flat palms, partially opened fists for holding the lightsaber. There's another open fist. He's got a couple of closed fists and another partially open hand as well. So you can either display Luke with the lightsaber, the non-light up lightsaber in his hand. But you know what though? We're going to be a little more creative. Let's get the lightsaber lighting up working. By far, this is probably the coolest thing that we've seen with a Hot Toys release. I'm sure everybody at some point with looking at the 6-scale figures before, I've always thought, it's a shame that they couldn't actually light up the lightsabers. Well, Hot Toys has done it. There's a battery compartment located on the back of this interchangeable arm. Batteries are already installed, so you don't have to worry about adding batteries to it. And there's a little switch on the side. When you flip the switch, there is a very bright blue LED light that projects out from the hilt. You can then go ahead and take the beam itself, and you want to just peg this in. There we go. And look how bright that lightsaber projects. By the way, though, if you want to change the hand, you just want to turn it off. Pull this out just so it doesn't get in the way. What you want to do is lift up Luke's arm, or his sleeve of his arm, because you need to change out the socket itself. And for that, you're going to just reach off to the side, and you're going to pull this out, and we're going to swap it out for this arm here. When you're pulling the arm, by the way, you're pulling it out by the hinge, right where the elbow, the top bend of the elbow is. You're pulling it out from there. Pulling it out, though, so far I haven't had any issues, but I wish there was actually a simpler way that this could have connected itself. Maybe the use of a magnet, maybe use of a more simpler to peg in place joint. I'm not sure, but I'm a little iffy though. I don't want to be pulling this out too much for fear that I could eventually break the prongs that are attaching the elbow, well, the forearm area to the top of his bicep. So, yeah, not quite certain about that, but we can go ahead and take the replacement arm. And you just want to move the arm up and slide that into place. And again, you want to just take the forearm, snap it into place. You still have full posability options. The only downside, though, is you can't remove the lightsaber. So if that's not so much of an issue for you, you could really keep the lightsaber always affixed in his hand. You still get full posability. The hand still fully rotates. Well, it does swivel, it doesn't have the bend there, but he still has full bend in the elbow, full movement and bicep swivel. The only downside, again, you're going to be always having the lightsaber in hand. Let's go ahead and re-add the lightsaber beam, like that. And let's reach around to the side, and we want to switch on the lightsaber. And then we just move the display stand over there, put the placard back into place, and we can add Luke to the display stand. And there is a fantastic way to display Luke. Of course, that's about all the wielding he does of a lightsaber in New Hope. Pretty cool, though, to have him displayed with the training probe. I think that's a really nice touch. Maybe not going to be the way I display him, per se. For a Luke to have a lightsaber in hand, I'm probably just going to be displaying him as a Jedi Knight, though, again, truthfully, he's not really at the stage of being a Jedi just yet, but it's an exceptional look to have by having Luke with the light-up lightsaber. Once again, another close-up look at the lightsaber. Making use of LED light, yeah, you really get a brightness that almost runs the full length of the lightsaber, even almost to the tip of the lightsaber. It's still receiving, I don't know if you can see by my thumb here, or my finger, you can see that it still projects a light even from the tip of the full lightsaber blade. Throughout the course of this review, Spot's pretty much followed Luke Skywalker from his early humble beginnings on Tatooine, now as a training Jedi to be. Well, let's finally put him in the Death Star, and to do that, well, he comes with a couple of other accessories specific only to the Sideshow exclusive. The Hot Toys release basically has all the things that we've looked at over the course of this video. Now, these accessories are specific only to Sideshow, so if you want to pick up Luke here, I certainly don't blame you, but if you want to pick up Luke with the Sideshow accessories, well, again, you can order these, you can order this specific exclusive directly from Sideshow. So what we want to do first is we want to detach his belt. It makes use of just a little clip here. I'll just put Luke right there for a second. There's just a little, see a little tab point there, and it connects to the belt loop. And just connects just like that. So there's his belt. We don't really need that anymore because Sideshow also with the exclusive gives you a Stormtrooper belt. Very nice. It has a Velcro closure on the back, so we can go ahead and just get it under Luke's arms here, like that. And we want to spin the figure around or tip them upside down just so we can get to the Velcro clasp. There we go. And you've got him with his Stormtrooper belt. Now on the belt, you may not be able to see it, but right there, let's move the arm out of the way, there is the communicator. Luke, of course, makes use of that quite a bit. 3PO! Anyways, he does have the little communicator, which can be removed. There is a metal little clasp there that holds the communicator. It's very small. I'd be worried to be losing it. So you just take that and snap that back into place. Luke, also for the Sideshow exclusive end of it, also comes with a Stormtrooper Blaster. And this swings around as well. You don't really ever see it like this, but you can swing them out as well. And for that, there's a section on the side. It's magnetized. You take that and you can slide the blaster inside the holster. The holster is material. It's almost like a faux leather, and you want to get it. It's kind of hard at times to get it in there. There we go. And you can have them holding, or at least you can have them holstering the blaster while we have a look at some of the other things that he comes with too. And the other thing that comes with Luke is the grapple hook. The grapple hook has little clips on the back, so you can clip it to the belt. I'll show you that in a second. But the grapple hook also comes out. It doesn't actually go far. I mean, I would not be pulling this at all. It's on a very short cord. But it's neat that he would have also come with that as well. And it's got hooks on the back, as mentioned. Just spin the figure around to the back, and you can just lock those, just latch them over top of the belt, just like that. I guess the only thing he needs right now is a princess to save. And of course a big gap, which makes no sense, but a gap where he could swing across. Between this look and the belt, the previous look for how he was on Tatooine, not really sure which way I'd actually like to display him. I suppose eventually when I get, you know, a Han Solo, I might be more inclined to maybe display Luke like this, but I think for the time being, I might be more inclined to display him with the Tatooine belt. When it comes to Luke's articulation, well, he does have a ball joint. Not only does he have the ball joint in the base of the actual head socket, but he also does have a secondary ball joint at the base of the neck. As for shoulders hinge out very easily, and because his tunic is so loose, especially in the sleeve area, you can get a pretty good range of motion from his arms back and forth without feeling restricted at all by the fabric. He has the bend hinge, double hinge elbow, also rotates at the top bicep area. He has a rotation in the hand, which also allows the hand to hinge back and forth. For his torso, by the way, this is, I don't think I actually even showed you, but this is a secured, closed, shut tunic, so you don't want to be trying to remove it off of Luke. He has an upper torso crunch. He has a swivel point on his waist. Legs have a very nice, very easy to bend ball joint. A top thigh cut allowing a swivel in the leg. A double hinge knee. And finally, a hinge in the foot, which also allows a pivot point too. I don't know if you guys can see it, but he's got a double ball joint. A ball joint attaching the foot to the, well, the ankle area to the lower of the calf. And then he's got a secondary ball joint that attaches to the boots. Between those two, you get a lot of motion and movement there as well. Though, yes, not quite a Jedi yet, young Luke here has not yet developed into the Jedi Master that we would see him in later movies. Hot Toys has delivered an incredible piece here with a New Hope Luke Skywalker. He has tons of different accessories, multiple different ways of having him displayed, whether you want to have him displayed in the desert outfit, you want to have him displayed in the Tatooine outfit, the training gear, and certainly some of the Stormtrooper editions only exclusive to the Sideshow release. Yes, definitely it's a good time to be a Star Wars fan and hope that Hot Toys continues to release different incarnations of Skywalker here. Speaking of picking up though, if you guys are interested in getting the Sideshow exclusive of Luke Skywalker here, you can click the link down below and head over to Sideshow Collectibles now. As it stands right now, Luke is still slated as a pre-order, so get your hands on him before the pre-orders are sold out. And also the beauty, too, of Sideshow Collectibles, as Spot has made use of in numerous times before, you can always pay in installment plans as well. Can't afford Luke Skywalker up front? Well, you can certainly pay a little bit every single month until you've fully paid him off and Luke is coming to your house. Thanks for watching as always, guys. Today's collectible Spot. Spot was having a look at the Hot Toys A New Hope Luke Skywalker 6 scale figure. Stay tuned. Spot's going to have more collectible spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.